How you doing? This is Sam Tolley. On May 24 of this year, 2022, a deranged young gunman broke into this school in Texas and slaughtered 19 little kids and 2 teachers. It was a horrific thing. I'm sure you know about it. That was slightly, a week or 2 weeks or so after another deranged person went into a supermarket, I believe it was in Buffalo, New York, and gunned down about 10 citizens. And that one was a purely racial thing. He was trying to kill black folks, but this one doesn't appear to be racial at all. But at either rate, these are 2 monsters that wouldn't just shot up people. You know, after that shooting in Texas, I posted this mime I want to show you. And it said, if Joe and the Democrats really want to stop mass shooters, let all law-abiding citizens arm themselves. Shooters will think twice if the person being shot at is them. And I didn't write that frivolously, because I think the guy in New York said that he went to this store, to this area where he believed it would be safe. And most of these schools, I don't know about the one in Texas, but many of these schools and many of these areas that these shooters decide to go to are what you call non-shooting zones, or they'll say guns are not allowed here. Because these people are not looking to get shot. These people are looking to shoot people. And the citizen, the unarmed citizen, is the one who's in danger. I propose that all schools, there's a lot of things you can propose. I mean, obviously, they should have a central point of entry, and they should have it guarded. And they should have, I believe they should have armed people on the campuses who are not going to turn tail and run, but understand what they need to do. But nevertheless, I believe that the teachers themselves should be able to use firearms for self-defense and to protect those children. That they should be able to be armed and equipped. I'm not saying that you have to force teachers to do that. I'm saying that if there are teachers who will accept the responsibility and want to take the training, that they should have every right to do so. But Joe and the Democrats, their first response is to take guns away from us law-abiding citizens. I mean, it's amazing. These people think that if they keep enacting, supposedly they think that if they keep enacting new gun regulations, it's going to stop gun violence. By and large, criminals do not purchase their weapons legally. By and large. I'm not saying this person in Texas didn't, but most of the criminals do not purchase their weapons legally. By and large, criminals don't care about human life. If they're murderers or whatever, they're thinking about getting whatever it is they want to get or get done. So the individual is a person that is responsible to take care of their life. Many of us think that we should just call 911 and wait for the police to respond. Well, look what happened in Texas. The police responded quickly, but they didn't do anything for about an hour. And in that time, if that was your child, you wouldn't want to stand out there listening to gunfire and waiting for them to tell you that your baby is dead. Democrats, they seem to have a focus of wanting to have a gun-free America, what they would really like. They want to disarm us of the law-abiding citizens. But the elite, they have their own personal security, they have their gated communities, and all those politicians have federal protection. And criminals are not going to give up their guns. So I've asked this question many times before. If we give up our guns, and the criminals don't give up their guns, and as for you people that believe that the police are systemically racist and that they want to kill black folks especially, who are we going to call? We're going to call Ghostbusters? Who are we going to call? What are we going to do? It makes no sense. The Second Amendment was not put in place to ensure our ability to go hunting. The Second Amendment was put in place to ensure our self-protection, and not just protection against criminals, but protection against a government if it goes sideways. We have there's over 300 million Americans, and there's over 400 million legal guns in America, and billions of rounds of ammunition. Why do you think that in World War II the Japanese never considered invading the mainland Hawaii? Because they wouldn't have to just fight against the army, they'd have to fight against the citizens. No country in their right mind would invade the United States on a ground war. The Chinese, people have nuclear stuff that they would consider flinging at each other. But if the Chinese or anybody else invaded the mainland of the United States, they wouldn't just be fighting against the Army or the Navy or the Air Force. Block to block, they would be citizens that would defend this terrain. All I'm really driving at is this. If the law-abiding American citizens wanted to destroy this country, we could have destroyed this country a long time ago. If the law-abiding American citizen was a fool, there'd be carnage in the streets all the time. But the law-abiding American citizen doesn't want to destroy the country. They want to preserve the country. And we're not fools. And we're not dangerous. And we do not take our responsibility for gun safety lightly. We want to protect our homes. We want to protect our families. We want to protect ourselves. We want to protect our nation. And we're not giving up our guns. We don't force people to carry guns. I live in a state where you can carry guns all the time, where it's legal, open or concealed, where you don't need permits. But this is not the Wild West. People aren't walking around here acting like Andy Oakley or Wild Bill Hickok. People are acting like responsible, mature, everyday citizens going about their lives and minding their own business and being respectful to the neighbor. They're especially respectful to your neighbor because you never know if the person that you piss off is carrying the same thing you're carrying. So why would you put yourself in a position where you would have to deal with that? But in closing, let me say this. Only a few days after that massacre in Texas, a report came out in West Virginia, Charlottesville, West Virginia, about a group of people having a party, I believe. It was from a graduation party. And this guy, this Dennis Butler, is driving back and forth in this parking lot of these apartments, and they asked him to slow down. This fellow apparently got upset and went and got him an AR-15 and started shooting at the crowd. But an armed woman took him out. A legally gun-possessed woman. If she wasn't there, we might have been looking at our third mass murder in the month of, what, May? So armed citizens are a deterrent, or at least a protection. And for the government to want to take our rights away because of bad people is ridiculous. We're not hurting anybody. We didn't break any laws. We've shown ourselves to be responsible. And to denigrate the NRA or to denigrate people because they want to carry guns is crazy. We believe in the Second Amendment, and we believe in the First Amendment right to say what you want to say. You know, the fact of it is our Second Amendments protect our First Amendment, our freedom of speech and our freedom of religion. Because if we didn't have a Second Amendment, they can take away our First Amendment. Just like they want to have this disinformation board that all of a sudden doesn't exist anymore. How during the COVID lockdown they were telling churches they couldn't gather. All these different things. You never, look, Germany, Russia, Japan, Cuba, Venezuela, all those countries took their citizens' guns away. And all hell broke loose in many of them. Russians started slaughtering their people. The Chinese started slaughtering their people. The Germans slaughtered all kinds of people and made the people do what they didn't want to do. The people had no recourse. We have the Second Amendment in the United States. We're not giving it up. We have sense. Our country was built for the people and by the people. Not for an elite class of people, but for the everyday people. We're going to keep our guns, we're going to keep our country, and we're going to protect ourselves and live as decently and peacefully as we can. This is Sam Tolley. I'm out.